President Donald Trump just announced that he will indefinitely extend the so-called ceasefire with Iran. Indefinitely. So the ceasefire was hours away from expiring. And earlier in the day, Trump said very different things, of course. He just goes from one claim to another. Doesn't matter, changes minute by minute, hour by hour. Before I give you what we think is happening so far, Cenk, your 2 cents.
Yeah, so Donald Trump has been lying about everything. There's not even any negotiations. As you're gonna see, JD Vance didn't show up, the Iranians didn't show up. He just made it all up. It's amazing, it's amazing. The only thing more amazing is that the media, who's been saying all along what a liar Donald Trump is, like, no, about the war, everything he says is true. Why? Well, as you're about to find out, it was all a fable, it was all a fantasy, and a disastrous war is headed in our direction imminently.
So Trump announced the indefinite ceasefire when it became very clear that the Iranians were not going to travel to Islamabad and they were not going to engage in peace negotiations until they got concessions from Trump. And Trump was unwilling to make any concessions while making demands of the Iranians that they're unwilling to move on. So as a result, Trump announced in a Truth Social post, based on the fact that the government of Iran is seriously fractured. Is it? What's the evidence of that? But okay, let's keep going. Not unexpectedly so, and upon the request of Field Marshal Asam Munir and Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif of Pakistan, we have been asked to hold our attack on the country of Iran until such time as their leaders and representatives can come up with a unified proposal. Okay, there is no indication that the Iranians do not have a unified proposal at all. At all. The Iranians have been very clear. The US blockade on Iranian vessels is a huge hindrance to us even thinking about engaging in negotiations with you. But Trump insists on keeping that blockade intact. Okay, so where's the fracturing and where's the different contradictory messaging here? I don't understand. But let me continue with the rest of Trump's ridiculous statement. He says, I have therefore directed our military to continue the blockade and in all other respects remain ready and able and will therefore extend the he didn't write this, extend the ceasefire until such time as their proposal is submitted and discussions are concluded one way or the other. It is a problem that the president's chief of staff, Susie Wiles, was literally one of the important figures in Benjamin Netanyahu's re-election campaign and helped him get re-elected. It is a huge freaking problem. She's the one who's the gatekeeper. She's the one who gets to decide what kind of information the president of the United States has access to, what types of conversations he's allowed to have. It is a huge problem when Israelis and their assets have infiltrated every nook and cranny of the US federal government and carry out policies that are favorable to the Israelis and detrimental to the American people.
So that statement by Trump was written by someone working for Israel.
Yeah.
And so when I say that, people like get all in their feelings about it, like, oh, how could you say that?
Who cares? Keep crying.
So hold on. Let me just, Susie Wiles, as Anna just told you, literally worked for Netanyahu.
He's a traitorous bitch.
We have Marco Rubio, we have emails from Larry Ellison saying he bought Marco Rubio for Israel. Hegseth wrote a book about how the IDF should be in American streets. What the hell is that? And JD Vance just went to a fundraiser where his wife sat next to Miriam Adelson. They hugged and kissed, and then they went to Loeb and Singer and all the pro-Israel donors and collected their cash. Do you think the pro-Israeli donors are stupid? There's a lot of stupid people in Washington, but the Israel First donors are not among them. They're not giving all that money to JD Vance because he isn't agreeing with their war. It's because literally everyone surrounding Trump, and including Trump, all work for Israel. So we were wondering yesterday, and I was the more skeptical one. Anna was more certain that this was all nonsense and we were gonna go to war, and Anna was right, or re-enter war, right? And I'm mad at myself for ever believing anyone so stupid in mainstream media as to believe a word that Donald Trump would say. And so, like, since they were all unanimous, like not just mainstream media, but Wall Street, people I talked to in Dubai, like everyone was like, no, this is totally real. We totally believe Donald Trump. And it was all a mirage. It was, as usual, 100% lies. And so why are we saying that Israel's so relevant here? Because guys, we made no concessions. We said a ceasefire, and then Anna just told you we never even lifted our blockade. That was point one in the ceasefire, not like the 13th demand. The first demand was Iran open up the Strait of Hormuz and we cease the blockade. Except Israel said, shut up and go back to war. So we never lifted the blockade. We never gave in a single thing, and Trump kept going around. Again, this part we both told you super strongly was utter horse crap, was, oh, we won. They're gonna give us everything. They're gonna give us the enriched uranium, and they're gonna let us dictate their foreign policy. All that was garbage. They were never gonna do any of that. And they don't have any leverage. What are you talking about? They're gonna block this, they are blocking the Strait of Hormuz. And the only reason why oil didn't go through the roof, guys, is because the idiot Wall Street traders believed Trump that the war was over and we had won. And when they find out that didn't happen, we're going to 120, maybe 150, maybe $200 per barrel, and you have no idea the economic devastation that's going to happen. And Israel's going to laugh all the way to the bank. Hey, suckers, we drove you into another now we're at tens of billions, maybe hundreds of billions soon. War, all for our benefit.
We'll see.
We'll see. And we're going to take southern Lebanon, and the Leviathan gas field now is so valuable.
Okay, let's keep it real. The United States and Israel entered this war against Iran with its formidable military capabilities, let's keep it real, knowing that missile interceptors were already depleted. They're running low on them. They're not able to use any missile interceptors to help Gulf allies out, that's for sure. And so our Gulf allies saying we trust Donald Trump, enjoy that trusting relationship. Okay, I hope you enjoy it, especially the UAE. Enjoy every bit of it. But I mean, Israel knows, okay, so this is what Trump says. It's an indefinite ceasefire. The Iranians should not accept that, knowing that the missile interceptors are low. I think Israel should pay the price for this war. They wanted the war. They wanted the war. You want the war, great.
And
there's no ceasefire for you. The Israelis want the indefinite ceasefire. And then I'm sure there's gonna be attacks on Iran, and Iran's gonna be expected to still abide by the ceasefire while the US and Israel attack. No, don't play that game.
Yeah.
Iran should go for it. Go for it. You know that they're out of missile interceptors, so go for it. They've got their shelters. You look at Israel, 23 people have died, tragic, okay? But the reason why the death toll is so high in Iran and so low in Israel is because they're all living underground in Israel right now. So why don't they level Israel so Israel gets a little taste of what it's like to be a Gazan? What it's like to be someone living in South Lebanon.
No, Anna, they're superior to those people.
No, they're not.
Okay,
they're not though.
So, because our media tells us when we see dead, murdered Palestinian and Lebanese children, Muslims and Christians, they go, no big deal, bunch of terrorists. No, the real victim's Israel. I'm so sick of our media. What I was going to interject with is, the other reason why we're delaying is not because of the interceptors. You can't build those quickly enough. Our ground troops are still on the way. We're waiting for our ground troops to arrive so we could surprise the Iranians, right?
Ridiculous.
So look, and we're about to show you that they're not going to be surprised, and then they're going to listen, it looks like, to what Anna is suggesting, whether we like it or not. But before that, I just want to say one other thing. Look, I just want us to leave. I don't give a damn what happens to Israel that started this war. And if you want me to cry over the aggressors, oh, please, you should cry over the Germans who took, needed the Lebensraum. You should cry over the Serbs who were trying to slaughter all the Bosnians and the Kosovars. No, I'm not gonna cry over them. Don't start a war, don't start genocides. So I don't give a damn what happens to Israel. And if you caught feelings over that, that is definitely your fault and not mine. You should try caring about other human beings, which I haven't seen from the Israelis at all, okay? Never concerned about anybody else, but always me, and my stupid feelings.
100%.
Okay, now, so what I'm saying is we, America, have to get the hell out of there. There's no reason to endanger our ground troops, our ships, our money, our treasure for an out of control genocidal state that demands that we give them money and we give them our military. Why the F are they in a position to demand anything? And the real answer is the one mainstream media assiduously keeps hidden from you, because they have bribed all of our politicians. It's not at all complicated. They bribed 94% of Congress. They bribed Donald Trump with over $300 million in campaign contributions. The Israelis bribe all of our politicians, so our government does not work for us, it works for Israel. That's why we're about to get our asses handed to us in the Gulf. Not because we're gonna lose militarily, but because we're gonna lose so many soldiers for no reason, and we're gonna lose so much money for no reason. But Israel's gonna get everything they want, and every dumbass, every liar in mainstream media tells you that's just a coincidence.
No, I don't.
Get the hell out of here, man.
I don't think people realize Israel loses too, okay? Aside from the bombing. No, I hope so too, they deserve it. But aside from the bombing, we are entering a global depression. Okay, the damage that's been done to oil fields, oil and gas infrastructure in the Gulf. Okay, 20% of oil and liquefied natural gas traveled through the Strait of Hormuz, which is effectively shut down now, thanks to Trump's ridiculous blockade on Iranian vessels. By the way, in the beginning of this war, you know what Trump did? He lifted sanctions against Iran so they could ship oil in order to lessen the economic shock of less oil supply on the market. And then he's like, I'm not getting my way, I'm not getting my way. So I'm gonna do something that's gonna do what? Hurt the global economy more by doing that blockade on Iranian vessels. Oh, congratulations. Guys, this isn't ending anytime soon, which means that the economy is gonna devolve more and more until we enter a global depression. And when your life is destroyed, remember who did it? Israel. Israel did.
Yes, every time you go to the gas pump and you pay more.
Yeah.
Remember, Israel took that out of your pocket, because we all have to serve a country as small as Papua New Guinea. Well, how do you think they did that? Because we all have moral compunctions that we have to give all of our money to Israel to murder all their neighbors. That's not a moral compunction. That is made up by the press and by our politicians to rob us blind on behalf of their favorite country in the world, this tiny little Israel that we all apparently have to bow down to. You should be furious at Israel. They did this. They 100% did this. And now I'm worried, I mean, no one would be this way. Trump's at 33%. I told you he's gonna go into the 20s. When this war continues, he's gonna go into the 20s. This thing, he is just absolutely pulverized his presidency and his legacy. There's only one reason you would do that, and Trump turns around all the time. When he senses he's in trouble, but here he's not turning around. Why? Because he thinks the only thing worse for his legacy is obviously what Israel has on him.
That's true.
And if you think Israel won't do blackmail, you're an idiot. You don't know anything at all about politics or world events. Israel's so moral. They're the one country who doesn't have a spy agency and who doesn't spy on us. We already know they stole all our secrets. How stupid are you if you think Israel isn't at a minimum trying to get blackmail on every leader in America? We all know that. We already know that Netanyahu had blackmail on Bill Clinton, but he say, Clinton didn't do what he wanted on Monica Lewinsky. And guess what happened? The Monica Lewinsky tapes came out. Funny how that works. All right, let's keep going.
There is no keep going, okay? We're at war, the war will continue. The Iranians believe that Trump is gonna do a surprise attack. Who knows? They put out a statement saying everyone must leave the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, and Kuwait immediately. Sailors aboard all ships in the Arabian Gulf must also prepare to evacuate their vessels. This is especially urgent for ships near the Strait of Hormuz, which will be destroyed first. Time is running out. Now, I get that by the time the additional troops make it to the Middle East, there will be about 60,000 American military personnel. That doesn't mean that they're all combat troops, okay? Some of them are special ops. But at the end of the day, the vast majority of them are personnel, not combat troops. You need 500,000 combat vet troops to go into Iran to carry out what Trump claims the United States and Israel wants. So I don't know what they're actually gonna end up doing. This is a disaster. It'll continue to be a disaster unless we finally have a leader in this country who's willing to take a look at Israel, understand that it is a cancer, not just in terms of our alliance, but in terms of a cancer on the globe, and decouple immediately. Hey, Canary Mission, make sure you include that in your next compilation video, okay, bitches?
No one cares about them. No one cares about anybody talking about anti-Semitism as Israel has lit the world on fire and goes, who cares about your economy? Who cares about your dead troops? No, you should only care about our feelings. Canary Mission, suck it. All of you who are lying about anti-Semitism to get us to do the dirty work of Israel, you're the worst people in the country. All right, look, the parliamentary speaker that we're supposed to be negotiating with, he said we have new cards to play in the battlefield and we can't wait to play it. And by the way, they've been threatening our ships in a bunch of ways. Now, what did I tell you from the beginning? Our ships, once the interceptor missiles are out, are sitting ducks. By the way, they told us that the USS Gerald Ford had a random fire in their laundry room. Maybe they did, and maybe they didn't. They told us that there was a brave rescue mission in the middle of Iran, and the pilot that was theoretically rescued is no one knows and no one states his name, and was apparently 110 miles from where we went. So what the hell was that mission? Literally everything the Trump administration is saying is a lie. And we have morons repeating it nonstop in mainstream media because they're not doing news. They're doing every propaganda thing they can. Get back into the war, get Israel. God, we're not the ones obsessed with Israel. Every son of a bitch in Washington serving Israel are the ones who are obsessed. This war is all them. This is gonna turn into an epic disaster, guys. I'm worried oil is going to double and we're gonna land ground troops. And the Iranians have said 1,000 times, we've laid traps for you.
Good.
No, not good, not for us. We're now going to walk into those traps on purpose because Israel has ordered us to. And our leaders have betrayed us. They're not Americans, they're traitors to this country. And I'm not just talking about Trump, the 7 snakes in the Senate that are Democrats who said, oh yeah, give Israel more 1,000-pound bombs and armed bulldozers to murder innocent Lebanese and innocent Palestinians. You know, they murdered more Palestinians today in Gaza. They murdered more Palestinians today in the West Bank. They murdered more people in Lebanon today. They won't stop murdering. And the 7 snakes said, no, we serve Israel. We don't serve America. And we're gonna send them more weapons to do more genocide. And give me your money, America. I'm sending it to Israel for war and genocide. That's what those son of a bitch Democrats did. Every son of a bitch Republican voted yes. They're the worst. The Republican Party should be named the Israeli Party. And Trump is at the head of that snake. And none of them serve us. Biden didn't serve us, Kamala, Trump, they all serve Israel and we're all sick to death of it. And when this war goes disastrous, even more disastrous than today, this country is going to explode in rage. And don't come blaming us for it. Blame the people who lit that fire. And that's Benjamin Netanyahu and all the traitors in Washington who serve Netanyahu instead of us.
No, that day of rage needs to come. And for the Americans who are still playing cutesy games, maybe you're getting that $7,000 check every time you betray yourself, your own morals in order to spew pro-Israel propaganda. I hope you understand what you're doing, and I hope you suffer the consequences too.